Hi, this is Ike from Groovy Entertainment. Today we got another book to read for you. Today's book is The Sword and the Stone. So let's get started. Many, many centuries ago, England was so covered with thick forests, and London was only a small town. The king died and left no heirs to fill the throne of England. But one morning, the citizen of London found a magic sword planted in an anvil placed on a stone. On its hilt was written a mysterious message. Only he, only he who can remove this sword from the stone is worthy of the crown of England. A miracle. All the men in the kingdom, old and young, rich and poor, strong and weak, flocked to London to try and pull the sword out. Not one succeeded. England was left without a king. The sword and the stone was soon forgotten until a magician by the name of Merlin changed the fate of England. Merlin the magician lived in the middle of the forest. Every day he fought with his cranky will. What a nuisance, those middle age, he would mutter, to think it will be another 1,000 years before we invent running water. He had been in his crystal ball that day. He would have a visitor, and since in England one must serve tea to guests, the magician continued to struggle with the well. While Merlin was getting ready for his visitor, the two sons of Lord Ector, was, who lived in a nearby castle, went hunting. Kay Ector's first son was tall, strong, and very stupid. Wart was Ector's second son and had been adopted. He was skinny and quick. Kay always brought him along on a hunt because he was very good at driving out the game. As they was walking, a stag leaped out of the forest in front of them. "Aha," said Kay. "Just found my arrow. We'll, we'll have good meat for supper tonight." Kay drew and fired, but his arrow hit a tree instead of the stag. Was much too quick for him. "Wart, go get my arrow," he ordered, and without waiting he left. Wart climbed up the tree and reached over for the arrow. Crack! The branch gave way, and Wart crashed it through the roof of a tiny cottage. Hidden under the tree, he landed right in Merlin's home. "Right on time," said Merlin. "I was expecting you. Is this proper? Is this the proper way to pay a visit?" Squawked a bad-tempered owl, perched on Merlin's hat. "Welcome to my home. My name is Merlin, and this is," said Merlin, pointing to the owl. "He isn't stuffed," asked Wart, puzzled. "Stuff? Stuff yourself," squawked the owl, offended. Wart had just met the most sensitive owl in the forest. Merlin poured Wart a cup of tea. "Look at the steam coming out of the teapot. In about 10 centuries, the steam engine will be invented. But that's another story. What's your name, my boy?" asked Merlin. "My name is Arthur, sir," replied Wart. But everybody calls me Wart." "What do you want to be when you grow up, Arthur?" asked Merlin. "I want to be a knight," answered the boy firmly. "Don't you want to learn and read big books?" I am a magician and I know a lot of things. I'll come to your castle and give you an education, suggested Merlin, but Wart would not convince our Merlin's magical ability. The old man seemed crazy. Merlin decided to pack his bag anyway. At his command, all the books, chairs, table, plates, and dishes, carpet, and musical instruments squeezed into his tiny bag. Do you believe me now? Merlin asked a very startled Wart. What was the big round ball you packed in your bag? Wart asked the magician. Ah, very good. In Exodus beginning, this ball is a globe that represents the earth, answered the magician. The earth? Interrupted Wart. This can't be. The earth is flat. No, in the 20th century, people will travel around the earth. I am not crazy, just a little ahead of our time. Because you are a magician, asked the boy. Magic can't solve every single problem, grunted, grunted Merlin, then added with a twinkle in his eyes, even magicians can get their beard caught in the door. Come on, my boy. Show me the way to your castle, said Merlin. Don't you know the way? Asked Wart. I don't know everything. Um, let's first cross this pond. Follow me, he ordered. Much to Wart's surprise, Merlin walked on the water. The boy was even more amazed when he found that he too could walk on the water. It's lucky that Wart could follow Merlin across the pond without a hungry wolf was close on their trail, squinting with pleasure at the thought of having Merlin and Wart for lunch. Merlin had noticed the wolf behind them. He ran to and jumped over it. Wart followed him with a great big leap, but the wolf, afraid of heights, did not dare to jump. He howled with rage as he saw his lunch set off on the soft green grass on the other side of the. By the time the wolf had found his way around, Merlin and Wart were very close to the castle. Never go near the castle, the wolf's grandmother had warned him. They are too dangerous for wolves. His grandmother's word cut his appetite short. He had remembered just in time. In the castle, Great Hall, Lord Echo was drinking to Kay good health. Kay had just gulped down 15 appetizers and now waited for the main dishes. Wart stepped forward and introduced Merlin. Welcome to my home, Lord Marvin, stuttered Echo. Merlin corrected the magician. Yes, yes, Marvin. What can I do for you? Asked Echo. I would like to instruct the young man, replied Merlin. He is very gifted. What? Laughed Hector. Gifted? He is only gifted to wash dishes, this boy. He wanted to become a knight instead, Merlin. Certainly not. Hector, this boy belonged in the kitchen. Now leave my castle immediately. Merlin raised his magical wand and whispered a very aged mystical formula. Abracadabra, abra, abro, abra. Within seconds, snow started to fall, and Kay and Hector The snowflakes were as big as partridge eggs. Very quickly, the hall looked like the cold steps of centuries Siberia. Enough, enough, Hector cried out. Please stop the snow. I promise I'll let you teach the boy, Marvin. Thank you, said Merlin, and he lowered his magic wand. Where can I stay? Lord Hector did not want to live near Merlin. After some thought, he offered Merlin the north tower of the castle, which shook and rattled and threatened to tumble down at each thunderstorm. Merlin said nothing, but Owl was insulted. Quiet, Owl. Put away your books, ordered Merlin. But it rained on the table, and you hate wet sugar in your tea. This is scandalous, grumbled the Owl. Owl, enough, said Merlin. This tower is now our new home. Understand? Let's put away those books in a dry place. Every morning, Wart climbed up to the wobbly staircase that led to Merlin Tower and studied with his teacher, but one morning he was late. Merlin was looking out his window when he saw a horseman gallop across the castle drawbridge. How strange. He can't be delivering the newspaper. The first edition of the Time won't come out for another 12th century. Just then, Wart burst into the room. He was very excited. A messenger has come from London. There's going to be a tournament, and whoever wins will be crowned King of England. Kay wanted to go. I'll be his squire. Merlin doubted that Kay would win, but every day Wart helped train his brother. He bought a puppet. He built a puppet knight on his horse. I'll hide behind the puppet, and each attack I'll operate the spear, he explained to the wizard. Very clever, my boy. And when will this tournament take place? Asked Merlin. At New Year's. I will go to London with Kay, answered Wart. Wart called Kay, and he clunked his way across the courtyard in a heavy suit of armor. Is this the spear in place? I feel great. I will swallow this puppet in one bite. Merlin laughed up his sleeve. Kay could not even climb up on his horse. The following day, Wart found a huge pile of dirty dishes in the kitchen. Kay and Lord Hector had feast again the night before. No training or studying for me today, sighed Wart. He ran to the tower to tell Merlin. Merlin was very angry. Education is more important than washing dishes, he said. Take me to the kitchen at once. I'll take care of this chore, my boy. I am going to show you the forerunner of the dishwashing machine. He said with a chuckle. He pointed his magical wand at a huge wooden tub, which slowly lifted off the ground. Soap tub, he ordered, and the tub filled with hot soapy water. At my command, dishes fly, brushes scrub. Merlin was very pleased with his invention. He told Wart, my dear boy, you no longer have to do anything here. Let's go study now. While the dish was being done, with the help of magic, Merlin, Owl, and Wart went for a walk. Around the castle, a calm river filled the moat around the castle to protect it from possible attacks. Do you know anything about the underwater world, my boy? Asked Merlin. Aquarius, said Owl, pun of his Latin. No, I don't, replied Wart, but I would love to swim like a fish. Is that is that so? Asked Merlin with a great big smile. What? Wart should never have opened his mouth. With a touch of his wand, Merlin transformed the boy into a fish. Wart couldn't believe his fins. Come on, my little fish, said Merlin, catching hold of him. We'll go down the river together. And with that, Merlin also changed into a fish. I love being a fish, said Wart, playing in the water, but the river, like the land, was also filled with dangerous and hungry creatures. Watch out, a pike, called Merlin, as the predator fish glided into view. Merlin quickly hid beneath a knight helmet stuck in the bottom of the river. The pike headed for Wart with his jaws wide open and his two rows of teeth gleaming in the water. Quick, Wart, yelled Merlin. Use your Dothan fins to gain speed. Quick, swim away. Wart flapped his fins and wiggled his tail, but there was nothing he could do. The pike was more powerful than the little inexperienced fish. All of a sudden, Wart saw a lost arrow stuck in some algae. When his tail pierced the arrow into the monster's mouth, so Pike could not close his jaws. Merlin was proud of his pupil cleverness. Pike was very angry. With one loud snap, he broke the arrow in two and chased after Wart even faster. Luckily, Owl was flying over the clear river, watching over his friends. In a last effort to escape the angry Pike, the little fish leaped out of the water. Owl caught him in midair and brought him to the shore. Wart was safe at last. Merlin joined the two on land and struggled to get the helmet off his head. As Wart gasped for air, Owl was "May the devil eat you," he said to Merlin. The words and thought for an owl. Change that fish back into the boy immediately. I am going to dry my feather at the castle. With that, Owl flapped away. Wart was changed back into a little boy. How long have we been gone? He asked, worrying that he had stayed away from the kitchen too long. Meanwhile, inside the castle, Lord Ector and Kay called for Wart, but the boy was nowhere to be found. They went to the kitchen to find him, but instead found Merlin dishwashing magic in its rinsing phase. By Jove, said Ector, this is sorcery, the work of the devil, agreed Kay. Let's fight the magic dishes in place as real men would attack, ordered Ector. Lord Ector broke his sword swinging at the flying pots and plates and dishes. By the time Merlin and Wart reached the kitchen, Kay had broken almost every single plate, and the floor looked like an aftermath of a battle. Merlin lifted his wand to save any dishes that was left to save. Kate was very angry. You are fired. You are no longer my Wart, he shouted at his brother. Accident, explained Merlin. Wart, let's continue with our walk. In the river, asked Wart, worried. No, in the woods this time. In the forest, Merlin and Wart changed into squirrels and climbed an oak tree. Ouch, cried out Wart. Something almost knocked me over. That was an acorn. One acorn effect to under underestimate the universe law of gravity. Someone by the name of Newton will be the first to formalize them in about 10 centuries. You are much too young to know that, of course, explained Merlin. And Lady Squirrel scampered up the tree and looked quite a fancy to Wart. She wanted a squirrel kiss, chuckled Merlin as she walked away. That's obvious. Wart held the Lady Squirrel at bay, wondering how he could make her understand that he was not what she thought he was, but only a little boy. After all, it's his problem, not mine, thought Merlin, as he hid in the Lady Squirrel was a least of Wart prom. The lean and hungry wolf was waiting for Wart at the foot of the tree. He licked the chop and circled around. Suddenly, Wart's newfound friend leaped onto the grass on the wolf's far side. Drooling at the thought of a catch, the wolf took off after her. He led him. She led him as far away from the new little friend as she could. Wart was very moved by her courage. Merlin, Merlin, he called out. Help her, or the wolf will catch her. Taking his human form again, Merlin leaped in front of the wolf, frightened the wolf away. Much to the Lady Squirrel's disappointment, Wolf also became human. Don't don't be sad, little one, Wart told her. We was not meant for each other. Can't you see? I hope you find another squirrel very soon who can be nicer to you than I ever could be. Back at the castle, Merlin decided that they had studied enough science and opt for geographics. Wart was little disorganized. Look at this map, stared Merlin. Everyone believed the world is flat as a pancake. A ship sailing far enough across the sea would then fall off the edge of the water. But that is not thus. But it is true, protests Wart. The truth, my dear boy, is that the earth is round and turns around the sun, explained the magician. That can't be true. Even I see that the sun turns around the earth, said Wart. Quite, said Owl. You must listen to the teacher. One learn geographic from from the globe, not map. After the geographic lesson was over, Wart Patrick right in at the blackboard. Owl self-elected teaching on the subject. Watch him closely, but Wart was preoccupied, and soon he asked Owl, could you teach me how to fly? What for? Replied the grumpy owl. To see if the world lay round, was Wart's answer. Owl went to Merlin and begged him to change Wart into a. I will be a good father to him, the owl insists. Merlin consents with a laugh. He pronounced a magical format, and Wart felt his wing grow. Are you ready for takeoff? Asked the magician. He threw Wart up in the air outside the window. Aha, exclaimed Wart. It's so high. Flap your wings, my boy. That's what they are for, instructed Owl. He took his role as a father rather serious. Very good, little one. Watch the landing. Constance, Owl, this is wonderful, and a lot more fun than swimming, shouted Wart. Naturally, my dear boy, flying is a poetry in motion. Follow me to those clouds. I'll follow you to the very last one, Owl, said Wart. Wart was to learn very quickly that the sky could be as dangerous as the river. Careful, an owl, shouted Owl. Turn, boy, turn. Wart could not believe that the bird would attack another bird, but he had little time to wonder as he put all his effort into trying to turn. Just just what I don't know how to do, he muttered under his breath. He spotted a chimney below and took a nosedive for it. Wart thought it was one of the chimneys of his father's castle. What a surprise when he landed in the fireplace of Madame Mitz. The wicked witch. Who are you? She barked furiously at the. What do you want? I want to learn how to fly. And Merlin, who's Merlin? That old pile of rattled bones? I am Mint, the best sorcerer in the country. Your Merlin is a clown compared to me, she boasted. Mitz fell into a deep curtsy. She is truly horrible, thought Wart. Don't you believe me? Don't you believe me capable of magic? She questioned. She grew so large that she filled up the college and then shrunk to the size of a hairpin. Wart could barely see her. I am not the best. I am not the best witch in the country, she asked, showing him only tooth and a wide smile. I am very tempted to keep you hostage. Let Merlin come and rescue you if he dare. She burst out laughing. Merlin appeared in the college immediately. He was very angry at Mitz. I'll show you, Mitz, shouted Merlin. No, I will show you, Mitz shouted back. The two enemies agreed to a duel of magic, a duel in which the only weapon was the power of. Let me remind you of the rules, said Mitz. Number one is it is forbidden to disappear, and number two, it is forbidden to change into an animal that don't exist. I know that, muttered Merlin. I also know that you are a cheat and a liar. Let's get started, laughed Mitz. In reply, I can't wait to make a fool of you in front of you someone. Mitz and Merlin stood back to back, ready to take the 10th step before they could begin to do. The count began. Mitz, you cheated again, shouted Merlin. The wicked witch had transferred herself into an alligator, while they was still counting the 10 steps. The ugly reptile opened her jaw to follow her prey. Merlin, if that's how you want to play, fine with me, said Merlin, and he slipped into a shape of a turtle. Miss was afraid to break her teeth on the turtle shell, so she angrily turned the turtle on its back. Merlin was not comfortable on his back. He couldn't get back on his legs, so he changed into a hare. And off in a second, Miss quickly changed into a fox, and the mad chase began. The dude was quick and furious. The To escape the fox, the hare became a caterpillar. To eat the caterpillar, Miss changed into a chicken. Merlin watched out for the chicken. She is going to peck at you, Wart cried out. The dude was most confusing. Tiger against mouse, crab against eel, rhinoceros against crab, and at last, ram against rhinoceros. Merlin the ram buttered Miss the rhinoceros right into the tree. Miss couldn't move. Humiliated and furious, she changed herself into a fierce dragon and spout flames at her enemies. But Merlin was not finished yet. He changed into a virus. Miss caught a fever and ran home to bed with 103 degrees fever and scarlet spots all over her body. After the historic duel was over, Merlin and Wart returned to the castle. Kay was leaving with his father for the tournament in London, but his squire had fallen ill. What should he do? He could not go to the tournament without a squire, but a dishonor. I am in good health. Take me to London with you, volunteered Wart. I don't have a choice, do I? All right, take my sword and put on your wooden clothes. It will snow. Wart was very excited, but Merlin was furious. A squire? What a miserable shrewster. And to think that I educated you, moaned Merlin. I don't want I don't want to see the tournament. Goodbye with that. He vanished in thin air. Owl was fed up with Merlin disappearing act. He decided to stay with Wart and follow him to London. I don't like him taking holiday just like that without telling me where he goes or when he'll be back, groaned Owl along the way. When they arrived at the tournament, Wart saw that he had forgotten Kay's sword at the inn where they had stayed the night before. But which inn was it? They all look like they all look alike in London. Wart was anxious to find the sword in time for the tournament. Owl flew over to help him. Follow me, he called to Wart. I found a sword nearby. Kay is so stupid that he won't notice the difference. Owl led Wart to a large stone. On it stood a anvil, and the anvil was a sword. But it's an old sword, said Wart, disappointed. It doesn't even look like Kay. That doesn't matter. Kay is too stupid to tell them apart. Go ahead, take it, insists Owl. Wart gently took hold of the sword. Pull, don't be afraid to take it out of the anvil, insists Owl. As if by magic, the sword slowly pulled the wait, Wart slowly pulled the sword out of the anvil. Wart was frightened. It looked like the magical sword, he whispered. He looked around to see if the magician had played this trick on him, but saw no one. Merlin had nothing to do with this, and uh, Sure, Owl. He went for a walk in the fruiter. That madman. Don't worry about him. Take the sword to Kay. Now, Wart did as Owl told him. Better late than never, grunted Kay when he saw them. I would have cut your nose if you had lost my sword. Lord Ector, however, was a little more observant than his son. He took the sword and carefully examined it. This is not your sword, Kay, he declared. This sword is an antique. Where did you steal it from, you little squander? I found it planted in the anvil on a stone, confessed Wart sheepishly. Planted in the anvil, replied Ector. It sounds like the devil work to me. Let's have a look. Wart led Ector and Kay to the anvil. Carefully, he slid the sword back into place. Word of long-forgotten sword soon spread across the town. Each and every knight came to try and pull the sword out, but it had failed. Finally, Wart stepped forward and quietly gasped the heart of the sword. Without effort, he slid it out of the anvil. A miracle, shouted the crowd. This boy will be our king. What is your name, my boy? Asked the knight. Auster, long live Auster, the King of England, cheered the crowd. The young boy was carried to his fruiter castle. And years later, he would live wonderful adventures at the head of the knights of the Round Table. But for the moment, he was very much entangled in his royal clerk and rather uncomfortable with his new authority. How he wanted Merlin to be with him. He so needed a teacher to show him how to be king. Merlin heard the pupil, which and canceled his stay in the fruiter, so erupted that he did not have time to change his clothes. While Merlin changed back into his clothes, more suited to his old self, Owl invited Wart to quietly slip away if his new responsibility was too frightening. The young boy was very tempted to follow the Owl's advice, but it was too late. Merlin came forward carrying the crown of England. Hold up your head and stand straight, he said. I hereby crown you Arthur, King of England. Remember that you will be a legendary as myself. Well, the crowning ceremony was over. Merlin returned to his cottage in the wood and to his and to his dusty old books. He often thought about the young king who had been his best pupil ever. Good old King Arthur. He would chuckle to himself. To think he dropped in through the roof and almost into my cup of tea. When was that? The day before last, perhaps. So that was The Sword in the Stone. So if you like, subscribe, share, and comment. Have a groovy day with another video coming out real soon.